So, off the cuff, this is a random story about street food, what you might encounter, what you might not encounter. I would like to say just right off the bat that I absolutely love street food. It is one of my favorite things about traveling, is experiencing the street food of another country and what they have to offer. Whether that is beef patties in Jamaica or whether it is bún thịt ngon in Vietnam, and I love bún thịt ngon. I apologize Vietnamese people if I'm not saying that correctly, but bún thịt ngon is one of my favorite things to eat in Vietnam. Or whether it's just meat on a stick, which you can find all over the world, Malaysia, Singapore, Peru, in many countries you'll find that. Empanadas in Argentina. It's just so many good street food to try. Bel puri in India. Bel puri is one of my favorite street foods. But it is, I will preface this video by saying I do love street food, but you will run into a lot of travelers, a lot of articles or videos, and people, family members perhaps, warning you to not eat street food. And I understand why. Whether it's the water that fresh vegetables are being washed in, that it might not be pure, and you will have a lot of contaminants in there that could make you sick. A valid point. You know, don't eat any fruit unless it's something you can peel, nature's container. Or meat being not cooked properly, or a lot of flies on it, which obviously is something to be concerned about, and watch out for that. Try to go to a stall that is busy and the meat is being cooked quite rapidly, not just sitting there. But I feel as a traveler, if you really want to experience the street food of another country, you're hindering yourself by only going to restaurants. In fact, I could not love travel the way I do if I wasn't allowing myself to be a little adventurous, take some risks, and try the street food of that country. It's part of the culture. It's what the locals eat. It's amazing to be able to try all these foods. And so you do have to kind of go out on a limb if you really want to try these foods and appreciate it, and perhaps throw caution to the wind. I personally do throw caution to the wind, not just with street food, maybe several things. But if you're hesitant about street food, I would encourage you to branch out and give it a shot. Now, I understand that some people are traveling for a very short amount of time, and I typically travel for several weeks or months or longer at a time, and I have time to build up the tolerance within my stomach in a country, if that's a thing, or just be able to have time to get sick and recover without losing huge amounts of time from the time frame that I'm in that country. So I understand being cautious if you're only there for a week or two, but I would still recommend just not putting yourself within restrictions of enjoying what street food there is out there, because it is usually the best food you're going to eat. Restaurants are, in my opinion, of course I go to restaurants, but I usually eat more street food, not only because it's budget friendly, but because it is the best food you're going to have, and far more authentic than what you're going to get in a restaurant. Restaurants are more expensive. Depending on what restaurants you're going to, a lot of times they might cater to tourists, and it's not as tasty as the woman who has been grilling that meat and making that bún thịt ngon, or the bel puri or whatever it is that you're eating, that she's been doing that for nearly her whole life perhaps, and far better than any restaurant you're going to find. And you know, not to mention, what does the back of that restaurant look like anyways? You know, you get to see what's happening in front of your face, and it is just so delicious. So street food, don't limit yourself by being scared of what could happen, because many times it is one of the highlights of traveling in another place, is being able to share in the culture with the locals, interacting with the street vendors, and just eating on the street with exotic motorbikes flying past you, or the chattering of people and the smells, and it's just tantalizing and exciting and delicious. And I could never limit myself and my experiences by avoiding street food. So I just wanted to preface that by stating that I do love street food. I do take some risks, but I've met people that, even when I first went to Thailand, for example, there were backpackers that were telling me to not brush my teeth with the water, and don't eat any salads, again with the whole vegetable thing. And I think that's a fair point. I mean, be cautious, and I'm not here to judge you or to tell you what to do, but I didn't get sick from brushing my teeth with the water in Thailand, and I wouldn't recommend gulping down water from a foreign country that is not suitable for perhaps a Western stomach. But I wasn't guzzling the water as I'm brushing my teeth. You know, you don't need to use bottled water to brush your teeth, in my opinion. I fared well, and my stomach isn't the strongest. In fact, a lot of times there are slight repercussions from street food. Nothing too extreme. It's usually upset stomach perhaps, or some loose bowel movements, as they say, aka diarrhea. But nothing life-threatening. You know, you'll more than likely be fine. And to me, it was always worth it, even if I did suffer a bit of stomach problems the next day or two. However, there was one time where street food completely kicked my ass, and that was in India. So this is the story about my deli belly. Deli belly is pretty well-known phrase, and people generally use it loosely for all of India. However, it's usually used for any kind of stomach issues and food poisonings, food sickness from the food in India. But I actually got mine in New Delhi from a little bit of a street food tour I took there, and it was a fun day for sure. It started off with me. It was about my third or fourth day in India, and I fortuitously met an Indian man while I was waiting in line to see the Lotus Temple. And he started talking to me. We, you know, some small talk. He was from the region of Punjab, which is to the north of Delhi. So, but he was there working, and had been living there for a while. And so, you know, we exchanged, you know, some. Well, what have you seen around here? Oh, how long have you been here? And he ended up offering to show me around the city a little bit. And of course, I jumped on that opportunity. Great, you know, not quite a local, but he speaks the language. He's been here for a while. Let's go explore the city. So he offered to take me to get some good food. I think I suggested it actually, like, well, let's go get some street food. And some sights. So we started off by going to India Gate, which is a big monument. Almost looks like the Arc de Triomphe in France, but it's a big monument archway in India. And near the India Gate, we were walking through the park, and we ran across a little boy, probably like 9 years old, 7, 8, maybe 11. a young boy selling chana chat, which is a chickpea salad. It's some chickpeas and some lime squeezed over, some tomatoes and onion, and some spice mixture. I'm not sure what it was, some masala, but that was really delicious. And there's monkeys running around the park, and it was a cool environment to start off the street tour in Delhi. From there we went closer to India Gate, right in front of it, where there's a lot of vendors. And the next thing I tried was bel puri. Bel puri is one of my favorite snacks in India. You need to try it if you're in India. It is amazing. It's got the texture, it's crunchy, it's like a puffed rice mix with onions, tomatoes, I think maybe some tamarind sauce. It hits all the points for me of texture and flavor. I love mixed flavors combination, crunchy. It was very refreshing. So I ate that. From there, I tried pani puri, and pani puri, I think, might have been the culprit of what brought on my Delhi belly. No one will ever know, but I'm looking at you, pani puri, for what brought on my sickness. Pani puri is basically a fried flatbread. It's like a hollowed out egg shaped, but very delicate. Like, you can crack it, break it very easily. So it's a fried, hollowed out flatbread, usually filled with a few chickpeas or onion, some chutney. It depends on the vendor. And then they will dip it into water. Pani means water in Hindi. So pani puri, I think it might mean water dish, pani puri. But they'll dip it in a spicy water or sweet water, typically. I chose the spicy water. I love spicy food. And it wasn't too spicy, if you ask me, but it was good. It was delicious. And then from there we moved on to Chandi Chowk Market, which is near the Jama Masjid Mosque. So I think the stop on the Delhi Metro was Chandi Chowk. So we took the metro from India Gate to the Chandi Chowk Market. It was 2 for 1, right? You see the mosque, and then you go to the market, and it was a weekend, so it was busier than normal. I'm sure, in fact, I did go back there again, and it's always busy, but this was especially packed because of the weekend. And I had some mutton, which was delicious. Mutton is quite popular in India. If you're going to be getting meat, it's probably chicken or mutton. The Muslims typically eat the mutton. A lot of Hindus, there's a lot of vegetarian food throughout India, but there's also mutton and chicken to be found. And then I had some kheer, which is basically a rice pudding. It is very good. Right, I've had it actually the previous day, and I loved it, and I wanted to get it again, so I got a little tray of that. I think there was some cinnamon added on top, which was very good. I think it was a good touch to the kheer that day. And after that, my God, I don't remember. I had a lot of street food that day, and it was delicious and amazing, and absolutely loved it. However, the next day was hitting me pretty hard. It started with just upset stomach, some cramps. My mouth was salivating, felt like I was sweating a little bit. And I was changing hostels. By the time I got to my other hostel, hit me like a ton of bricks. I was in my bed, curled up, fetal position, just within hours, vomiting, spewing out. I've never had sickness like this before. I've gotten sick, but nothing like this. Let me tell you, Delhi belly is not something to mess around with. It came spewing out of me like the power of a fire hydrant, of a fire hose. Just, it hit the toilet bowl and came splashing up and down into the toilet bowl again like a water fountain. That's how much force it had. I was amazed, actually. While feeling absolutely awful, I was like stunned and in awe of the force of it. And I was hopping from my mouth to my backside in my double dragon style. It was pretty horrific. And I was in that situation for about 2 to 3 days. I felt near, I mean, it sounds dramatic, but I felt not near death, but I was so weak, shaking, dehydrated. I couldn't keep anything down. Anytime I tried to drink water, I was like it was the essence of life, sipping it or chugging it. But after a very short amount of time, I realized that if I drank it in 2 minutes, or less, 30 seconds sometimes, I'm back in that bathroom vomiting it up. So it became very depressing to be so dehydrated, try to drink that water, knowing that you are gonna lose it and go through that awful, violent motions of turmoil within your body by trying to hydrate yourself. And I started to suspect it was the water I was drinking. It wasn't. The water was fine because other people had been drinking it. It was bottled and it was in the hostel, and I drank it after I recovered and I was fine. But I started thinking, maybe it's the water. Why can't I get better? This is like day 2 of violently ill, laying in bed, can't get up, can't go anywhere, can't do anything. Thankfully, I had some really kind hostel mates. Thank you guys for... they'll probably never see this, but it was a woman from Thailand, and she saw my situation. And this is the thing I love about travelers, is that we all watch out for each other. We all are typically alone traveling, and we get it, and we help each other like family. And she saw my situation and said, "Gee, is there anything I can get for you? What can I do to help?" There was a girl from Denmark or somewhere like that, and she offered some medication, some charcoal tablets, and I believe something else. So yeah, the Thai woman, I normally don't like to accept help. I don't normally like to request favors of people, but I accepted that time, and she went out and got me a Sprite, which actually helped a lot. It settled my stomach. I don't know if it's just a mental thing from always being sick as a kid with stomach flu symptoms and just having that help, or if it was just that I could actually keep it down because I didn't vomit. Like, I was able to drink a good amount of it. I was sipping it, but it didn't come out right away. And I started to come back to life then. So yeah, it was very grateful to my fellow dorm mates. I really also apologize to them because I occupied that bathroom for a good while, like a couple days. The noises coming out of there, the dreadful state of my appearance, and just, yeah, wasn't pretty. But I did recover with time and with help, and I still don't regret doing that street food tour. I actually expected to get sick in India. I knew I was gonna get sick. I knew it was just a matter of time. And so that was in the back of my mind when I went on that street food tour. Like, I'm gonna get sick, so let's get it out of the way now. Just, you know, land in India, 2nd, 3rd day, 4th day, let's hit the ground running, baby. Like, gonna be here for 3 months. I know I'm gonna get sick eventually, so let's build up the tolerance now. I don't know if that's actually how that works, where, you know, where you can build up the tolerance, maybe. It worked for me, I guess, because I didn't get sick for the rest of the time I was in India. I went there for 3 months, and I was only sick in New Delhi during that first week, but it was severe. So yeah, that's my Delhi belly story. A cautionary tale, a fun story, not trying to discourage anyone from going on a street food bonanza, you know. In fact, the opposite. I think street food is amazing. I would do it all over again, just the way I had. I have great memories of that day, of Robin who took me on the street food tour. Thank you, Robin. and it's amazing. I would never give up the experiences that I've had trying street food for a slight ailment. It's most times it's just a nuisance. If you get sick at all, it's usually a slight upset stomach, loose bowels, nothing more than that. And for the experience that you get to have, this food that you get to eat, it's well worth it in my opinion. So I definitely encourage you to hit the streets, you know, have fun eating it, but just keep in mind what you're going to choose to do. You know, typically if I see a street vendor that's completely empty and it's something that could really make you sick, like if it's just meat and there's tons of flies and there's no one there, you know, maybe hit up a street vendor that has a line. Then you know the food's coming in, getting cooked and going out, so it's fresh. Definitely not gonna have flies laying all over it. Or with vegetables, like papaya salad in Thailand, I love it. I'll take the risk there. You know, and it just depends on your stomach, you know, and where you're from, but it's so delicious. I would never pass it up, and I definitely encourage everyone to eat street food. So, Deli Belly, it exists, might happen. Take the risk or not, that's up to you. But I love it, and I would always promote eating street food because it's a great experience. So, thanks for listening. I hope you enjoy your street food experience wherever you are in the world. And as always, be safe.